because Superman is back in the building. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Cam Newton has returned to the Panthers. Played his first game on Sunday, and I was really hyped. Cam was super hyped. Um, in limited snaps, he was able to score 2 touchdowns, one rushing, one passing, and you could feel the electricity in that stadium. Um, it was a very kind of short stint for him, but Brandon, I want you to grade his performance and also talk about how you think he'll fit on that Carolina team.
What? He started on that Carolina Panthers team. What do you mean how he'll fit?
Well, because he only played like what? How many snaps? It was just a handful of snaps. Like he's going to be the starter, but he's not yet the starter. And how far do you think he can take this team?
Um, I don't think he can take this team very far this year. I think it's a little late in the season. I think if he started at the beginning of the season, you'd be talking about a playoff team. Um, the other part of that, like, look, when we were talking about Cam getting cut, I made a list of the teams I thought that he could go to, and it wasn't a short list. It was like 6 or 7 teams that he could potentially fit on. The only reason I left out Carolina Panthers in the first place was because we didn't know what was going to happen with Sam Darnold. We didn't know if it was going to be like the Adam Gase effect and he was just going to kill it like Tannehill did, or if he actually sucked. And it's leaning towards the latter part of that. In which case, I would have added the Carolina Panthers as a return for Cam Newton as well. So you and I were both on the bandwagon that we want to see him in the league. We need Superman in the NFL. And you're so much of a fan, I even had you cheering for the Patriots for a short point last year.
Yes, sir.
So I'm super excited to have Cam back, especially I don't think I ever watched Carolina once Cam was gone. I love the idea that he's back, and even though he's not on the Patriots, the only reason he was cut was because we drafted Mac Jones. Like if we won enough games or Mac Jones didn't fall, I don't think Bill Belichick would have taken any chances. I think he would have kept Cam for another year. And if you watch the preseason, he was looking hot. So it was just a matter of time before somebody signed him. Obviously, he was the topic of conversation every time a quarterback left the field with an injury. It was, okay, is this Cam Newton's next spot? And I'm happy to see that he's back in the league. I think we're going to get a lot of great highlights. I just don't know if it's too late in the season to call Carolina a playoff team now.
I mean, it almost seems like, Sam Darnold is just not the solution. He's worse than Teddy Bridgewater at this point. I'm excited that Cam is back in Carolina. That's definitely going to give a lot of, different different features that he can do on the field as well as in the locker rooms. Overall, I think it's a good opportunity for Cam. Shows that he can still play great. In the when he was at the Patriots, it just seems like the schemes didn't really fit well for him, and it seems like Matt Rule's schemes might fit a lot better for him, which brings up the question of why they cut him in the first place. I guess to save cap money, but they just gave him $10 million, so it almost seems like essentially he's getting paid double for he's counting double against the cap. I think I think Carolina might be, using Cam to make a push and then maybe sign him to a backup role to develop maybe a rookie quarterback in not the first year, but maybe in like 2 years, because they did pick up Sam Darnold's contract in the offseason for this 5th year, so they're going to be on the hook for his full guarantee, which I believe is around $26 million, which is roughly about 10-11% of the cap that we're going to see in the next season. So they're going to have to be playing the numbers really well, and this just seems like Sam Darnold's trade was just a complete bust. But then again, we all know that the Jets is going to pick some random player that's going to fail. So it's going to be a win-win situation for both organizations. Jets is going to pick a terrible player that's not going to fit their schemes. Bob Sala is most likely going to get fired in like 2-3 years. And the the quarterback carousel is gonna and coaching carousel is gonna roll over on the Jets over and over again, and maybe you never know. Zach Wilson might be the talk of the town in 3 years when he gets cut or traded to another team from the Jets.
I was just looking at the NFC standings. They're actually in a playoff spot as of right now. That being said, the NFC is pretty tight. Like if you take into account that the Packers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Bucks, and Rams are 5 of the 7 playoff spots, essentially, we just assume those teams will probably make the playoffs at this point. That only leaves 2 spots, and there's a big gap between the rest of them. So, I mean, they might sneak in on the wild card.
Ooh, Superman on the wild card.
But if they sneak in on the wild card, they're going to be playing like the Cardinals, the Cowboys, or the Bucks, or the Rams. So, like, that's,
Yeah.
I don't know about making it past the wild card round. But I was just looking at it and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Aside from the 5 teams atop the NFC, the rest of the NFC stinks.
Yeah.